Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here at SALDEF's 2017 National Gala. I first want you all to please put your hands together for the team of SALDEF, Manjeet Singh, Gujri, Kavneet, everyone, the entire team, and the volunteers who've worked tirelessly to put this event together to make it fun and memorable for all of you. So let's all put our hands together for them first. My name is Gurmeet Kaur Sodhi, and I'm your Mistress of Ceremonies for tonight. I want to ask you all, how many of you have a credit card? Visa, MasterCard, American Express. What kind of credit cards do you have? With a show of hands, does anyone have a credit card or a checking account? Don't tell me, not a single person in the room owns a credit card. Come on, these are Punjabis. I know we all shop. I know we all own credit cards. I possibly don't believe this. How many homeowners in this room? Let's start with that. How many homeowners in this room? 1, 2, 3, about 10, 12. None on this side of the room? They all live in the Gurdwara. Oh, Vaheguru. Okay, you know what? Let's start this again, guys. We have homeowners here, we have businessmen here. You guys have established credits, so I know you have credit cards. Don't tell me you don't. I come from the finance industry, so I know what credit is all about in this country. So if you have a credit card, I want to let you know, we're here at a fundraising gala. Let me say that again. We're here at SALDEF's 2017 fundraising gala. And for those of you who don't know what the credit cards look like, we've actually even put the pictures of them on the 2 screens for you, just to make it convenient. Do feel free to charge them like you do for your everyday shopping, and put SALDEF on those accounts so there's some contribution monthly, quarterly, half-yearly, annually, whatever works for you, for what they do for all of us, and for our children, and for the generations ahead. The money that you give to them is going to serve a large purpose for our entire community in America. So I ask you all again, when you think of donating, please think of SALDEF, and please remember the work that they do, because our young girls and our young boys that go to school, that face issues every single day, our moms and dads that go to work and face discriminations every day, there's someone now who has a voice for them, and that's SALDEF. So I just want you all to know that the fundraising gala is serving a bigger purpose for all of us. So I want to thank you all for being here and for your generous donations that you have given to them in the past years. With that, dear esteemed speakers, honorees, friends, and SALDEF board members, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome everyone to 2017 National Gala. We thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate the achievements of the Sikh American community and SALDEF. On behalf of the SALDEF board, staff, and volunteers, thank you all for your support and making the time on a Sunday evening to join us this evening. We could not have done this without you. We have a very exciting evening for you, and we're doing a very special silent auction here today. Our dear friend Vishwajit Singh, also known as Captain America, I think you guys must have met him this evening, has a special item he designed just for tonight. And the silent auction is open till 8:30. At 8:45, we will be announcing who won that silent auction. We would like to thank our sponsors for their tremendous support. Our gold sponsor, Comcast NBC Universal, Ik Manzil, Guru Meher Foundation, Bhullar Family, Roshni Foods, Seva Truck, Sync Construction, Scalability. Also, we're grateful to the Gurdwaras and Sikh organizations who are present this evening, expressing their support of SALDEF's mission and work. Guru Gobind Singh Foundation, Guru Gyan Sagar Gurdwara, Guru Nanak Foundation of America, Sikh Gurdwara, Washington, D.C., Raj Khalsa Gurdwara, Sikh Foundation of Virginia, Washington Sikh Center, Guru Angad Institute, Sikh Dharma, Shri Harmandir Sahib Academy. Please put your hands together for all these sponsors and supporters. We're very excited to host our esteemed keynote speaker, Ash Singh from Toronto, who will share his personal journey and some creative ideas regarding increasing awareness about Sikhs and the Sikh identity. We are humbled to honor Ravi Singh, founder of Khalsa Aid, with the Bhagat Singh Thind Community Empowerment Award. Last but not least, we are proud to recognize the achievements of two pioneering Sikh women, Manka Kaur Tingra from Seattle, who is the first Sikh American elected as state delegate and will be serving in Washington State Assembly, and Supreet Kaur from Las Vegas, the first Sikh woman police officer in the country. Please put your hands together for all these wonderful speakers today. As you know, having an organization like SALDEF needs vision and needs leadership. And SALDEF is fortunate to have a strong visionary leader, Mr. Manjeet Singh, the chairman. Manjeet Singh is co-founder and chairman of the SALDEF board. Under his leadership, SALDEF has been able to build strong relationships with the government and media, which has helped pioneer major educational media and policy initiatives. At the 16-year-old organization, post 9/11, Singh was instrumental in paralleling SALDEF's relationships in DC to develop and create training videos to educate and inform law enforcement on Sikh Americans. Manjeet has also appeared in print and on broadcast media, including CNN, Fox News, BBC, Al Jazeera, and many more. We will be hearing from him in a few minutes, and as he comes up here, we have a small video that you'll see prepared by SALDEF Executive Director, Mr. Baldev Singh, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today due to medical reasons. Just to tell you a little about Baldev Singh, in the aftermath of the tragic shooting at the Gurdwara in Oak Creek, Wisconsin in 2012, Baldev became a passionate local activist and launched a local initiative. Through this initiative, Baldev championed fellowship, understanding, and cooperation among communities to treat each other with respect. Baldev frequently spoke at local universities and organizations to share information of Sikh Americans and Sikhism.
Vaheguru ki esteemed guests, honorees, awardees, members and fellow colleagues from the SALDEF board, thank you. It's good to see you all. A pleasure and honor to host you on behalf of the organization. It's been an interesting evening. As you can see, still a technical glitch we're trying to work through, but we'll get through that. So, 21 years ago when we started SALDEF, our goal was that in this country we call home United States, that Sikh Americans are respected and recognized as a vibrant and integral part of the Sikh American, of the fabric of this nation, and are appreciated for our values of service, social justice, and an unshakable belief in freedom and equality for all. And our mission today, over 20 years ago, 20 years later, remains the same. In fact, our mission is even more important today than ever before due to the ongoing demonization of immigrants, minorities, and those who are perceived not to be American. One of the key founding principles of this country, e pluribus unum, which means out of many one, is being undermined and devalued. The strength of a nation is in our diversity. The unique beliefs, values, and practices of our races, ethnicities, and religions is the source of our nation's strength. And we will need to defend and strengthen this diversity. And that's the reason we are gathered here this evening. You will hear from our speakers that talk about what they have overcome, why they took the journey that they did, what motivated them, and what drives them to continue to pursue their passion. This evening you will hear from several different board members, SALDEF staff, volunteers, and some speakers, also about the work they are doing to impact the lives of 6 on the ground in this country. You will hear about our recognized law enforcement training program that has trained over 140,000 law enforcement personnel over the last 15 years. You will hear about our Know Your Rights that empowers the community, along with the Sikh vote, to help our community understand the importance of registering to vote and then actually voting. Unless we have a voice and we exercise it, we will continue to be marginalized. And when you hear from somebody like Manka Kaur Dhingra, you will realize the value of being at the table, inside the room, not outside. It's time for us to make that transition for our future generations, where we are sitting at the table, having those discussions and setting the agenda rather than being told what will happen. We will also hear from some of the graduates of our unique Sikh Lead program, which provides unique opportunities for leadership development and training. There will be a couple of speakers from the recent 2017 graduates from the 2017 program who will share their experiences. Now, if you're wondering how we can accomplish all this, I wonder that too sometimes. Because it's a huge impact by a staff and a team of hardly 6 to 7 people. And we have been rebuilding our team. We have a new executive director. And in spite of some of these new team members, our programs have continued and the impact has been resounding. I cannot walk away without giving a huge offer of gratitude and admiration to our staff and volunteers. You will see them this evening running around, ensuring that the evening is a great experience for all of you. But they make SALDEF. They are the ones that really make the things happen. Yes, I could be the chair, but they are the ones who actually do all the hard work. They are the ones who put in the long hours. And all the accomplishments that we are proud of is because of them. So I would like you to again give a big round of applause to our staff and our volunteers. Lastly, I would like to introduce you to the new incoming chair of the SALDEF board, Kavneet Singh. Kavneet has been volunteering with us for a long time, almost right after 9/11. And when you talk to him, some of you may already know him, but when you talk to him, you'll find some of it was choice, but some of it was just expected. He's the younger brother of my fellow co-founder, Jaideep Singh. And so you could imagine that there was a little bit of choice and more kind of requirement, where he stepped into this shoe when there was a need and a call after 9/11. I wish him success and ensure him that the rest of the SALDEF board and the team is here to write the next chapter of SALDEF's success story. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We are humbled by your support and hope you have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjeet, for sharing the future vision of SALDEF, and thank you so much for your leadership, what you have given to SALDEF. We'd like to now introduce to you, as you all know, SALDEF has many, many programs that they offer for all of us and for our children to get involved in. With that, there are some of them known as Law Enforcement Partnership Program, Know Your Rights, Sikh Vote, Sikh Lead, and others. I would like to call upon the stage now Navdeep Singh, Southeast Regional Director of SALDEF and businessman from Orlando, Florida, and Amandeep Singh Shira, board member and attorney from New Jersey. Please put your hands together for these gentlemen as they tell us about the programs for SALDEF.
Thank you, Gurmeet. Ladies and gentlemen, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Good evening to all of you. Among the most impactful work done by SALDEF in the last 2 decades in providing cultural awareness training to law enforcement and also conducting the Know Your Rights Forum to members of the Sikh community nationwide. Started in 1999, the Law Enforcement Partnership Program, also known as LEPP, builds relationships between local communities and law enforcement nationwide through educational programs, resources, and events. Over 140,000 law enforcement and TSA officers have been trained by SALDEF over the last 15-year period alone, with nearly with nearly 1,000 done in 2018 alone. Many agencies across the country have received this cultural awareness and diversity training, including the FBI, the police force in Washington, D.C. area, Boston, Massachusetts, Montgomery County Police here in Maryland area, the TSA, as well as Seminole County Sheriff's Office in Orlando, Florida, just to name a few of the agencies that have benefited from this training. We continue to receive positive feedback from officers on how the training has helped build their cultural awareness and of working with the Sikh community. TSA officers were better able to identify and assess Sikhs with their turban screening and also the article of faith issues. The Sikh traveling public benefited from this awareness, experiencing fewer delays and also unnecessary supplemental screenings. At airports in various cities, the law enforcement officers and TSA officers have reportedly greeted Sikhs with Sat Sri Akal, the Sikh greeting reflecting how the training has actually trickled down into their community relations. The awareness produced by these trainings has brought law enforcement and Sikh communities closer together, fostering trust, mutual respect, and in building improved relations. SALDEF has been conducting what are known as Know Your Right forums over an ongoing basis for many, many years. With the changes that we have seen in our political environment landscape and with revisions to immigration and civil rights policies, these forums have now become even more important than before. This year, SALDEF held 17 of these Know Your Right forums across the country in response to the needs of the Sangat in various locales. These forums ensure that Sikh Americans understand their rights and protections against discrimination and bias as citizens and residents of the United States. These forums also introduce Sangats to local and federal agencies and groups that can address complaints, incidents, or issues they might encounter. And lastly, they also provide local, state, and federal government agencies with the opportunity to build relationship with and address the specific needs of the local Sikh community. Becoming informed citizens make for confident and productive members of society. Many Sikhs are more recent immigrants to this great country and may not be aware of their rights as citizens and non-citizens alike. These forums have helped Sikhs to become more aware about their constitutional, civil, and religious rights and have become more informed citizens. Among some of the concerns addressed at these forums include such things as airport security screening of the Sikh turban and also of the articles of faith, bullying of Sikh children in schools, as well as workplace discrimination. Also on the reporting of hate crime incidents and actions to be expected from local and federal law enforcement agencies. Additionally, SALDEF was instrumental in adding a separate category under the FBI hate crimes reporting form for Sikhs to be accurately accounted for hate crimes directed at them. Finally, SALDEF continues to expand its law enforcement training and also its Know Your Rights forums, and with your continued support, can do even more in 2018 and beyond. Thank you.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, and welcome. The Sikh community is a strong community with the power to shape and influence policy throughout the country. Part of that strength is in the fact that Asian Americans are the fastest growing population in the United States at a rate of about 45% from 2000 to 2010, compared to about 10% for the rest of the population. And that's projected, the population for Asian Americans in the US is projected to double by 2040. With that strength, from local to the national level, there's policymakers that impact our lives every single day. And if Sikhs aren't at the table, or if they not in a position to influence those policy decisions, then our needs and our voice is going to be forgotten and ignored. So at SALDEF, we have two initiatives that look to address this issue by making sure that not only is our voice heard, but that it resonates. The first initiative is the Sikh Vote Program. In 2017, we targeted Virginia and New Jersey, both of which had gubernatorial elections this year. SALDEF employees and volunteers mailed over 4,000 informational cards and called nearly 3,000 Sikh voters through this campaign. We also registered and educated hundreds more on voter rights and resources. The second initiative is the Sikh Lead Program, which consists of two programs, the internship program and the leadership development program. These programs offer an opportunity for students to express themselves, funnel their experiences into something positive, and for us to guide and develop them. But most importantly, to help them realize that our strength is in our unity and diversity. In 2017, we had 13 amazing interns based out of the DC area and New Jersey. They worked with members of Congress, federal agencies, and nonprofits to make a difference for the Sikh community and the rest of the country. They also secured a sponsorship from Senator Kamala Harris and Congressman Ami Bera to host the 4th annual Langar on the Hill, and also brought together members of Congress, staffers, Sikhs and non-Sikhs, and the entire community to package over 500 meals together as one for the DC Central Kitchen. In the Leadership Development Program, we had 16 incredible people representing communities from 11 states. They're working on leadership programs including mental health resources for the Sikh community, creating a Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month, partnering with food pantries, conducting health screenings, and so much more. It is this investment in our community that will help us foster, promote, and develop our change makers of the future. And you'll be hearing from some of those members of the LDB program, and really looking forward to hearing some of the work that they're doing. So thank you again. These are two programs that are going to help us make a real big difference in the future and make a difference and have us create those change makers of the future. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Navtej, and thank you, Amin, for sharing that information with us. Now, I also want to ask, I see a lot of young kids in the room here. How many of you have been part of the Sick Lead program, just by show of hands, or parents who've had their children participate in the Sick Lead program? The Sick Lead program. Okay, so quite a few. We have some here. You know what? It's a program that really, really is something I encourage parents to look into for your young kids, because it's something that really empowers them to move forward, to take leadership control, and to become powerful speakers, so to speak. For that, I'm going to now call upon stage for the internship program presentation and Sick Leadership Development Program presentation, Gurleen Kaur Ahuja, Sanmeet Kaur, and Yashmeet Kaur, who are going to tell us about the Sick Lead programs. So I'd like to invite them on the stage to share about these programs with us.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Gurleen Kaur Ahuja, and I'm a junior at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, majoring in global studies with a pre-dietetics track. As a Sikh leader, I had the opportunity to work with the National Council of Asian Pacific Americans and SALDEF, two organizations that work to defend the rights of Asian minority groups. Both of my workplaces taught me how to properly communicate in the professional world. Every day over the summer, I was motivated to wake up, walk 30 minutes to my internship, and help the organization grow. Knowing that I was one of 9 other Sikh interns in DC, I felt comforted and pushed to represent my fellow Sikh population through professionalism, creativity, and hard work. This summer left me with connections with different government-based organizations, communication skills, and experience in a highly professional workplace. I ask you today to invest in SALDEF's Sick Lead program because it helps Sikh minority students gain traction in the professional world. Many a times, it is difficult for the Sikh youth to step out of the STEM field into white-dominated fields such as politics and government policy. We need more encouragement and consistent support from our Sangat to reach heights Sikh Americans do not normally climb to. Anyone who is in high school and does not know what career path they want to choose, I strongly encourage you to apply for the SALDEF Sick Lead program because it teaches you to work independently, allows you to dip your toes in a different field, and helps you connect with Sikh Sangats from across the country.
My name is Sanmeet Kaur, and I am a junior at the University of Maryland studying public health. I had the great opportunity to be one of the Sick Lead interns this past summer. I spent my internship at SALDEF working on Longer on the Hill, doing communications and policy work, as well as planning an Oak Creek Reflective and Remembrance event at the end of the summer. At my time at SALDEF, I was able to create coalition relations by attending meetings with other minority, nonprofit, and advocacy organizations. Being an intern at SALDEF also gave me a unique experience because I got to work firsthand in my community and spent a lot of time planning and educating members of Congress about the Sikh faith and SALDEF's initiatives, specifically Longer on the Hill. This year, the Sikh Lead internship class planned and executed the 4th annual Longer on the Hill. This event is an opportunity for young Sikhs to educate political leaders on Sikhi. But since the targeting of minority communities is at an all-time high, we as a cohort had a different vision in mind. We wanted to take this opportunity to use an already accredited event and be able to unite these communities by incorporating seva, or selfless service. The foundation of Langar, the concept of sharing a communal meal, was established by our first guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It was designed as an anti-segregation movement to help spread equality. Langar features communities coming together to sit and enjoy a simple and hearty meal, regardless of differing backgrounds. In this way, Langar establishes that all people are equal and deserving of the same love and respect. Similarly, the principle of seva is a key aspect of Sikhi and spreads the message of not only giving back to the communities in need, but also to those who don't have a voice in times of oppression. This year, with the help of Seva Truck, the interns made fresh homemade sandwiches and packaged 500 meals alongside congressmen and the Sangat at the event itself. After Longer on the Hill, we took the meals to a local homeless shelter in DC. Being able to plan and execute this with the rest of the interns was the most memorable experience of my internship. I hope that in the future, the internship classes will also continue to incorporate Seva into Longer on the Hill, and that this event will serve to become a platform for both political and young Sikh leaders to have a voice and talk about diversity while also educating others about our faith. I'm very grateful for this opportunity where I could learn, engage, and serve with both my Sikh Sangat and the community at large. This unique experience has also allowed me to build lasting friendships with my Sikh peers across the country. I urge the attendees today to support SALDEF's initiatives and Sikh leads so they can continue to provide internship opportunities for young Sikh students like myself. Thank you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Yashmeet Kaur, and I am currently a junior at Drexel University. I was in SALDEF's Sikh Lead LDP program just this past year, and it was truly an incredible experience. So I applied because I wanted to connect with like-minded individuals. You know, when you're in college, you're kind of away from home, your local Gurdwara Sangat isn't really there for you. So connecting with other Sikh youth is really imperative, and SALDEF really gives me that opportunity. It wasn't because my parents told me to apply to it. And from previous cohorts, I'd heard that, you know, it was a really impactful experience, and you really connect with these people. And I was a little reluctant to believe that because you're only spending like 3 to 4 days with these people, and they're complete strangers. How can you get close to them in such a short amount of time? But I did. It was so incredible. The way it's set up is that environment, it makes you feel really safe. You feel super comfortable talking about the issues that you face as a student in college, as a young professional, trying to figure out, you know, how much Sikhi means to you and where that is in relationship with the rest of your goals in your life and how you want to serve your community. So, you know, it was truly humbling as well because a lot of these people had accomplished so much. And they were just very inspirational people. And I'm very close friends with a lot of them, and we have a bunch of different group chats now. We have so many great memories, late night bonding sessions. We even have a meme group chat, for those of you guys who like memes. So for our project, I worked with 2 other LDP cohorts. And one of my friends, her idea was basically to take a different approach at the way that we create awareness about Sikhi, right? It's the usual, oh, we have an identity, look at our turban, we have the 5Ks, some basic fun facts. But we wanted to take that dialogue a bit further. So we decided to host events within the tri-state area at universities and invite non-Sikhs and Sikh students to come and listen to our presentation. So what we presented on was about our gurus and how they were revolutionaries, how they were feminists, how they stood up against oppression, right? We really wanted to sort of relate who Sikhs truly are and sort of show how, you know, especially in the current environment that we're in, the current political environment, how important it is for us to really show that we have these really amazing values and we do stand up against oppression. So that created a really good dialogue. We had a lot of non-Sikhs that came up to us afterwards and asked a lot of questions, and we hope to continue this sort of program going forward at other universities as well. LDP has really made a lasting impact for me, and those of you out there that are qualified to apply, please do so because you will meet some incredible people. It's like a second family for me, honestly. And 13 different locations, 13 different vacation spots. But seriously, you'll accomplish so much and you will really feel good about yourself. And I'm very grateful to all of you that have been donating to SALDEF and making this program possible. And please continue to do so because you're enabling SALDEF to empower the next group of Sikh leaders. Thank you.
If hearing those words doesn't convince you to get your kids involved, I don't know what else will. These young girls, thank you so much, Gurleen, Sanmeet, and Yashmeet, for sharing those thoughts with us, because that itself tells you firsthand that these programs really do make a difference. With that, I also want to introduce our next guest to you. It makes a big difference when you have someone in a decision-making powers to have a voice for you, someone who supports the community, someone who says, you know what, Sikhs are here, and they're our friends, and they reach out to make a difference for us. I'm talking about our next distinguished speaker, Congressman Jamie Raskin. Congressman Jamie Raskin represents Maryland's 8th Congressional District in U.S. House of Representatives. He was formerly a 3-term Democratic state senator in Maryland, the Senate Majority Whip, and a dynamic leader of the progressive forces in Annapolis, who has been at the center of the breakthrough policies Maryland has experienced over the last decade. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Congressman Jamie Raskin.
Good evening, everyone. Do I have any constituents here tonight from the 8th District in Maryland? Hello. Well, special welcome to you. Have any of you ever been in the 8th Congressional District before? Well, you're in the 8th Congressional District right now. You are in Montgomery County, Maryland, and we pride ourselves on our multiculturalism, our tolerance, and our liberalism. I was thrilled to have this invitation to come to celebrate SALDEF because I'm very impressed by the work that's going on in terms of civil rights, in terms of community development, in terms of opposition to and vigilance about hate crimes taking place across the country. And so your work is indispensable, and I'm thrilled to be here with so many members of the Sikh American community. I'm a professor of constitutional law, which is what I've done for the last 27 years, and did that for a long time before going into politics. But I've had many wonderful Sikh law students, and I had a couple of actually during the time of the 9/11 attacks who apprised me at the time of the terrible violence that Sikh Americans were experiencing across the country, just out of pure prejudice and stupidity. I mean, even as racists and bigots go, they couldn't even find their right targets, the people who were attacking the Sikh Americans. That's when I began to learn about your community, and I got to know some people and knew that this is a wonderful community of people who are contributing a lot to American society at every level. And so I want you to consider me a friend and an ally as we go through these tough times in America. I just want to say a few words about America, which is now so besieged and so divided and so polarized and buffeted by events every time we turn on the TV or pick up the newspaper. But I want to talk about what's magical and great about our country. We are the first country on earth that was created in opposition to monarchy, in opposition to theocracy. And our founders rebelled against centuries of religious warfare between the Catholics and the Protestants in Europe. And they rebelled against the Inquisition and the Crusades and the witchcraft trials, and using religion as an instrument of torture and violence and war. And our founders wrote in our Constitution that beautiful First Amendment, which defends not just our freedom of expression or freedom of speech, but also the principles of religious freedom, that government shall not establish religion and government may not interfere with the free exercise of religion. And that, thank you, it deserves applause. The framers of the country, Jefferson and Madison and Hamilton and Ben Franklin, they knew what it meant to mix government and religion. It might seem like a good idea if your religion is in charge. And of course, the people who created America originally, the Puritans who got here, they were fleeing religious oppression in England, and they got to Massachusetts, and they got to Virginia, and of course the first thing they wanted to do was to set up their own religious dictatorship and tyranny over everyone else. But Jefferson and Madison and the framers, they had enough experience with that to know that if you want to protect people's freedom of worship, if you want to protect religious free exercise, you have to separate the state from religion, because what will happen is the strongest religion will take over the government and oppress everybody else. And that's why they wrote the First Amendment. And so we have both the most religious nation on earth of the industrialized world, and also the one which separates government from religion. And it's very dangerous to mix the two. And, I was in a debate the other day about the separation of church and state. The gentleman I was debating said, well, America's downfall was in 1962 with a case called Engel versus Vitale, which ended compulsory religious prayer in the schools. And he said, it's when they banned prayer in the schools. And I said, the Supreme Court never banned prayer in the public schools. As long as there are pop math quizzes, there will be prayer in the public schools. Anybody can pray whenever they want in the public schools. It's just that the school system can't compose the prayer the way they like it and then compel everybody to participate in it. And in that case, Engel versus Vitale, it was Catholic children and their families who brought a suit against a school that had composed a Protestant prayer and was forcing them to participate in. America is a beautiful, extraordinary, multicultural, immigrant nation, success story of the world, because we have opened ourselves up to everybody, but we don't let anybody dominate everybody else and control other people's religious worship and other people's speech. That's not who we are. And so the challenge for us as Americans is to appreciate the beauty of the experiment, to learn from all of the great cultures and faith systems and communities that have arrived here, but not allow anybody to gain control of the government and to terrorize and to tyrannize everybody else. That's not who we are as a people. So I'm going to leave you with the words of one of my great favorite American patriots, Thomas Paine, who came over from England to help fight the revolution with the Americans, like he went to France to help fight the French Revolution. But he wrote a book at the time of the American Revolution called The Crisis. And in it, he said, it was during the time of the revolution, and he said, I'm going to update his language a little bit so it doesn't offend modern sensibilities, but he said, these are the times that try the souls of men and women. These are the times that try the souls of men and women. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink from the service of their cause and their country at this moment. But everyone who stands with us now, everyone who stands for our principles now will win the love and the favor and the affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end is our victory. And we will have victory when we get through this tough period in our time. Thank you, SALDEF, for the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Congressman Raskin, for sharing those words with us. Our next speaker really doesn't need an introduction from me. I think we all know him through social media. I think he's taken social media to a whole different level when talking about being in politics and social media. He has really opened up doors for the next generation and make them believe that no matter what you look like, you can do whatever you desire as long as you're willing to work for it. I'm talking about none other than the new leader of the New Democratic Party in Canada, Mr. Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh began his career Jagmeet Singh began his career as a criminal defense lawyer for different law firms. He began his political career in 2011, and recently, in 2017, became the leader of the New Democratic Party. Upon his election, Jagmeet became the first person of a visible minority group to lead a Canadian federal political party on a permanent basis, and the second overall in the state. He's also the first turban-wearing Sikh to sit as a provincial legislator in Ontario. He has been recognized, as we all know, for his sense of fashion and style in Canadian magazines and publications. Ideologically, he identifies himself as both a progressive and a social democrat. And it gives me a great pleasure to have him join us through live Skype here, my dear friend, Jagmeet Singh.
I'm inspired by is that what we did in Canada is we broke history for the fact that we elected for the first time ever a leader of a national party, a major national party, from an equity-seeking community, from a minority community. But I want to say that I'm only here today because others chose to break barriers. I was inspired by it. And what I hope to do is two things. One is to inspire a whole generation of leaders who never saw themselves reflected in leadership, didn't see someone that looked like them in a position of power, and I'm hoping that now many more people will start to think of themselves as future leaders, and we'll see more leaders come forward. The other thing I hope to do is I hope to be a part of the voice and a part of the movement fighting against this rise of hate or this rise of divisive politics by promoting a politics of love and courage. For me, that is not just a slogan, it's not just a political slogan. For me, it's a way of life, and it's something very much entrenched in a lot of the values my mom taught me about the fact that we're all connected, we're all one. And I'll leave you with this last thought that the video that went really viral, I was shocked by the way that it went so viral and it was seen by so many people. And people asked me about my reaction to it, and they said, you know, how did you come up with those words and say what you said, and how do you feel? And I'm not so impressed by what I said. You know, what I said was something that's important for me. Whenever I've been confronted with Islamophobia, I've never said, my answer has never been, I'm not a Muslim. My answer has always been and will always be that hate is wrong. Once allowed to grow, hate spreads like a fire. It's something that... Thank you. Once allowed to grow, hate spreads like a fire. And it does not discriminate. Once you say that it's okay to hate someone based on their religion, you allow hate to grow and exist against people based on their other forms of belief, their gender, other forms of identity, race, where they come from. So it's important that we name and denounce hate of all types and all forms. But for me, what was so encouraging and inspirational about the fact that the video went viral was it showed that there is an appetite for love to conquer hate. There is an appetite for politics that unite people instead of dividing people. And if that's the case, then I think we have a lot to be hopeful for. And I look forward to being a part of that movement, adding my voice to those who want to build a society that is truly inclusive. And I look forward to doing that with your support as well. Thank you.
It is truly such an honor for me to be here today speaking at the SALDEF Gala. I really appreciate being a guest here today, so thank you so much. As a first-time candidate, the question that I get asked the most is, why did you decide to run? So let me start by answering that. Last November really changed my life in profound ways. I was having a very large election day party at our house. And the reason why I was having such a large election day party actually goes back to 9 years ago when President Obama was elected. At that time, the Seattle Times had done this wonderful front page cover that showed the images of all the presidents of the United States. And so I had laid this newspaper out at my dining room table, called my then 4-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son to come and take a look at the pictures of the presidents of the United States. And my 4-year-old comes running, takes a look, and she goes, "Where's the page with all the women presidents?" She was 4. So yes, I was having a very large election day party at my house because I wanted to finally show my children the face of the first female president of the United States. Clearly, the evening didn't go as planned. And so it really made me think long and hard about what I had been doing for the last 20 years and what I wanted to do for the future. And then two things happened. As a prosecutor with King County, I actually got involved in hate crimes after 9/11 when our local Sikh cab driver was assaulted. I've been on Seattle Police Department's Muslim Arab Sikh Advisory Board. I actually have conducted the SALDEF's cultural awareness training for law enforcement for people, law enforcement officers in King County. And so in December of last year, I was invited to the local mosque. They were having a safety forum. So I was there. We had 6 of our local police chiefs there. And it was a large auditorium, double the size of this room we're sitting in right now, full of people. And it was so eye-opening hearing how scared people were. There were people talking about how scared they were for their families, for themselves, for their children. They didn't know if they should buy a house or a car or whether they would be allowed to live in this country. And I remember thinking, I never felt that way when I was growing up. And then 2 days later, I was at the Indian Association of Western Washington. They had a hate crime seminar there. And I was there at a couple other law enforcement officers, and it was the same thing, this time from the Indian community, talking about how their kids have been told in Redmond, in Bellevue, that they were going to get deported. And so that weekend, my husband Harjeet and I talked, and we decided that it is crucial in our democracy that each and every one of us be represented. And so me running for the seat was me taking responsibility for what's going on in our state and in our country. So this campaign for me from the very beginning was about values. It was about honesty, integrity, compassion, and strengthening our communities. And this was a very tough campaign. We had $10 million being spent for a state legislative seat. It was the most expensive campaign in the state of Washington. And this race was crucial locally because it flipped a chamber. It changed a Senate chamber from being Republican-controlled to being Democratic-controlled. And this was the same reason why it got national attention, because it flipped a chamber. It turned the entire state blue. And then we joined California and Oregon in creating the wall of blue on the West Coast, the only wall many of us wanted to get behind. But the truth was that a lot of the money that came into this campaign was spent by people outside of our community and bent on dividing us against each other in the hopes of moving their own political agendas forward. And somewhere along the line, these people started making this campaign and this election about us versus them. And I don't have to tell you where I fell on that spectrum. I was definitely the them. And this playbook is being executed all over our country now. So when you see the politics of tribalism, misinformation, and mistrust happening around you, when you see the hate and the fear and the division walking around unafraid, it can be scary, it can be depressing, and it can hurt. But it's not okay. And what I've learned during this campaign is that when we're attacked with fear, divisiveness, and dishonesty, we respond with love. We respond with integrity, honesty, and a commitment to solving real problems together. And these are not values that are bound to any particular identity or political party. These are values that we as Americans believe in. And that is what made the difference in this campaign. I learned the power that love has to deliver justice long ago through my own family history. In 1947, when colonial India was legally separated along religious lines into what are now India and Pakistan, Communities were ripped apart by religious violence, and tens and millions of Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims became refugees overnight. My family members were fortunate, but instead of staying inside and keeping their heads down, the women in my family went and worked in the refugee camps to help migrants of all religious stripes on their journey. But this is not just a story of my family. This is a story of what makes us human. This refusal to let politically motivated divisiveness turn people against their fellow human being is a power rooted in love. And it's one that I know will win. And it's what I have seen over and over again during the course of my campaign. And when it comes down to it, that is what democracy is about. It's not about agreeing on everything and pretending that we're all the same. It's about being honest. It's about respect. It's about disagreeing and debating. But it's also about listening and moving forward. And it's about inviting that parent from your kid's soccer team, who you know is on the other side of the political spectrum, into your kitchen for coffee. And knowing that tomorrow, you'll still cut those orange slices and cheer everyone on that team on. In this fight against misinformation and distraction and division that feels so surreal at times, it's real relationships between real people that will save us. And it's not just political conversations and neighborly debates that a healthy democracy enables. It's also care for and by each other. And these values, communicating with each other with curiosity and with integrity, honoring and supporting each other with compassion, and learning to solve problems together in the spirit of independence and creativity, these are the values that I will bring with me to the state senate. And I hope to build a state government that empowers every single person to feel like they have a voice, that they have a role to play in making our democracy thrive. When I announced my candidacy 10 months ago, I had a surge of support. I had the PTSA parents, powerful group, by the way, parents, teachers, the mental health community, the domestic violence community, prosecutors and defense attorneys, the tech community, and the South Asian community all stood up in support. What actually I've been the most proud of during this campaign is that I had a teen campaign committee. My children are 13 and 15, and I've been involved in their schools for a very long time. So back in March, they wanted to get involved, and their friends wanted to get involved. So we had a teen campaign committee event at my house. We had over 30 teens show up. By the end of the campaign, we had 100 teenagers working on this campaign. And these are not teens who simply did clerical work. They actually went out and canvassed, they doorbelled, they made phone calls, they did data analysis. And by the end, the last 2 weekends, we used to have over 200 volunteers come out every weekend to doorbell for me. And it was our teens that did the training. And so all of these people, and thousands more in our state, and millions in our country, are proving that if you care about democracy, about justice, about a free and equitable society, you don't have to personally have a lot of money or connections or power to make a difference. All you need is your compassion, your creativity, and the courage of your convictions. And all we need is each other. And 10 months ago, we launched the campaign with the slogan, Strengthening Communities. November was the result of thousands of individual people deciding to turn those words into action. Tomorrow is going to be the beginning of turning those actions into a future for our district, for our state, for our country, and for our world. And this is what democracy looks like. And when democracy wins, justice wins. So thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you, Manka. And we must say, we definitely need more women like us to empower us. A professional woman, mom, running out there, making a difference in people's lives, and getting people involved. That's what we really need. So thank you so much, Menka, for your beautiful words. Thank you again. Our next program, we have a very special award, Bhagat Singh Thind Community Empowerment Award. I would like to call upon stage Gunveer Singh Vaveja, local